And we are live and we are here with the lovely Karen. Now, as you may have been following some of these interviews, I have been interviewing people in my circle that I think are amazing. And Karen falls into one of these people. Now, I know Karen from the Modern Mystery School. Karen is also a guide in the mystery school, and we have traveled all over the world and been, in similar classes and talked together and all sorts of amazing things. But Karen actually is also a pharmacist. And so I thought it'd be really interesting to get her on the show and to talk to how did that all come about? So we're going to find out later. But Karen, could you do a little intro on yourself and just say hi to everyone?
Hi, and so good to see you, Kate. Dr. Kate, so good to see you again. It's been too long. So wonderful. Thank you for having me. So yes, I'm a registered pharmacist, and I'm a guide, healer, and teacher in the Modern Mystery School. I'm in New Jersey. I'm in the States. Yeah, I'm excited to be here and looking forward to talking more about it.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. Yeah. Now, tell me, Karen, let's just get straight into it. How does one, you're an energy healer, you work all over the world teaching metaphysics. How did you become a pharmacist? How did that happen? Take us back to the beginning. Take us back.
Sure. So, well, way back when I was young child in grammar school and even in high school, I was a chemistry geek. I did very well in chemistry. I loved it. And so when I got to the university level, I decided to pursue pharmacy. There's a lot of pharmacy. There's a lot of chemistry in pharmacy. So I really, really enjoyed studying and learning, and I pursued my degree in pharmacy and graduated, and then things moved on from there. But when I was much younger, I also had that creative flair going. I was a dancer, and I had a lot of that movement going. I always had a strong connection to the arts as well. I always needed that balance. And I continued that through my pharmacy studies as well and after pharmacy school. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Well, especially in the mystery school, I find that it's when the science and the creativity, it's the science and the art meet together. And we know as metaphysicians, that's what creates magic. So I love that you were very balanced in your approach, and I think that's really interesting across the board of the mystery school, is that we do have a balanced approach. We are scientists, but yet we are also magicians at the same time, and I think that's key. So tell us, in your life, in your journey, so you've studied, you've got this science background, yes, you've got the arts, and you've proceeded into the world of pharmaceuticals and being a pharmacist. How does it weave in, and how does it connect to the world of energy healing and metaphysics? What's the, how does that interact?
Well, I have found, being a pharmacist and having the medical background, it's just been amazing for me to see how when we really work with our energy field and our vibration, and we raise our vibration, how that obviously affects the physical body. Everything's connected, right? So it's so amazing for me to see that people literally look different. I mean, you and I have spoken about this, right? People look different when they start to really work with their energy system, because like I said, everything's connected and it just flows down to every cell in our body. And I think, I'm all about the balance, and people just have to make their own personal choices, what works for them, and what's working for them at any specific moment is key. But open up your mind, step out of the box a little and say, wow, maybe I can do this. And I can shift my vibration and shift my energy, and let me see how that flows with everything else that I'm doing. There's so much more that we can do. And for me, it's been just amazing to see that, how people really shift. Their physical body can shift, and their vibration, as we shift our vibration, physical can shift, and we do look different. It does happen. It's wonderful. And yeah, it's just about the balance for me with that. Really, the balance. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's key, Karen, what you're saying, and I really hear that, is that I know some people that come to me, they assume that maybe we are anti-medication or whatever, and we know that if you've got something going on with your heart or whatever, and you need medication, there's that's but what you're saying is that when we then bring in the energetic perspective, we all of a sudden can start to create these physical shifts to wellness as well. So we're working in unison with that medical medicine.
Sure, absolutely. It's about the balance, right? And I loved how Dr. Ann talked about the 4 pillars. That really that spells it out. And it's just really we're working our physical body, and we're also working our energy system. So we have to take care of our physical body, right, with proper diet, exercise. And that too is also individual for people. It's very individualized what's going to work for them with diet and all of those things, with food allergies. There's a whole thing that we can get into on that, but individualized taking care of oneself. It's knowing thyself, right? As we say in the mystery school, know thyself. And then exercise as well. What works best for people with exercise. And then, add to that, taking, stress reduction was one of Dr. Ann's pillars, and working with the stress in our lives. So that is, meditation, things like that, meditation and moving meditation and energy healing is profound to shift our vibration, especially with everything that's been going on in the past year. There's so much, anxiety, fear. There's the whole gamut of emotions that people have been experiencing with the different situations that people are going through, with whether it's, sickness, loss, financial, things like that, really to just allow ourselves to support our energy system, mind, body, spirit, and allow ourselves to raise our vibration. And that's one thing, the mystery school tools, we connect to that light, and it pulls us right up, and out of that muck. I've had a few people come to me and say, God, I feel so stuck. I feel so stressed. I'm feeling so stuck. And, these tools really help us to pull ourselves up. So I love her 4 pillars speak, volumes to everything that we can do.
Yeah, so simple. It can be so simple, can't it? These things that we, because we often think about well-being, and sometimes we get overwhelmed, especially if we're unfit, or if if we're really unwell. We think, oh my goodness, we have to make all these big changes. But actually, it's the very small changes that we can make immediately that are going to actually give us the biggest, the biggest quantum leap in healing, I find. I do find that. Now, Karen, tell me, so obviously we're in lockdown. Well, we are here in the UK. I don't know what your situation is exactly in your area, but I know you have been in, I guess, some kind of restricted movement at some point. As coming from, as a pharmacist, have you noticed any different behaviors in what people are requiring, as medicine, and what have you? What have you noticed?
Yes. And I think Dr. Ann spoke to this on one of her podcasts with you as well. There's a very much more of a demand for the antidepressants and sedatives and things like that to calm people down and things like that. That's one thing that has been out there that we've seen. So, again, whatever we can do to support people with that. There's so many support mechanisms out there for people, but, to have that support mechanism of whether it's meditation or just to talk. Sometimes people just need to have a conversation. They just need to connect. And connection's been another big obviously another big thing that we've been looking at, right? With being able to connect to people. We've been social distancing away from families, things like that. So that's been, I think, traumatic in a lot of ways for people. That's one thing that has hit a lot of people in certain ways. So to be able to connect, like even live on Zoom, to be able to connect with people and offer support and offer, that connection with people, I think is really important. But yeah.
So what would you, what are your top tips? So if you had maybe 1 to 3 top tips of what people can be doing now to support their mental and emotional well-being, their physical well-being, is there something that they can be doing right away? Do they need to wait to see somebody in person? Can you give us some ideas of what you would suggest?
Absolutely. I mean, there's meditations being done online. Jump onto a Zoom on a meditation online. They are profound and they really, really help, right? To really connect us deeply with our core, and to really, it's about relaxing our system, right? It's about relaxing our nervous system. That's going to affect our mind, our heart, and it also affects our organs, right? It affects everything. So really, and our immune system. And the immunity. When we meditate, it's going to bump our immunity up. It's going to pump up our immune system. And of course, supporting your diet with whatever it is that you, whatever works for you, greens, all of that stuff. You have to do what works for you and what's best for you. Greens, vegetables, fruits, all of the high antioxidants, but also exercise. A little bit of exercise, whatever works for people, to just allow yourself to just move the energy. When we're not exercising, the energy can get a little bit stuck. And if you can't, you do what you can. Again, it's personal, it's individualized, right? Exercise. But I think that's really important. And I think really the 4 pillars that Dr. Ann talked about are really key for people to use. And again, it's not about pushing yourself beyond your limit and stretching, forcing yourself. Like you had said, do one thing at a time. Start doing something. Doing a little bit at a time really, really helps, to shift vibration and energy. And of course, if you can, get into somebody for a session, that really helps. I mean, tremendously, right? But, it depends on situations with lockdowns and things like that. But I think there's so much available to us online, so much information available to us to be able to do and to be able to connect in online with people too. So
and Karen, you come from, that creative background, the dance, and the acting. How does that play its part in people's mental and emotional well-being? How important is that? Because I know a lot of, certainly here in the UK, a lot of schools have scaled back. In my niece's school, they actually stopped music lessons because because of the singing, and they were worried about the transmission of COVID, etc. But if we see the scaling back of the arts, how does that impact in our children's mental health, but also as adults?
Yeah, I mean, speaking to the children, it's really important for them to have that, right? So whatever they can do to support that, I mean, right now, if they're scaling back, hopefully they're going to be bringing that back in. But, even at home, whatever children can do to creatively express themselves, that's so key and so important. And, even connecting online with certain things, they may have certain things available to the children online. I mean, that would be really, really helpful, because children obviously need to express themselves, right? Adults as well. I mean, I experienced it when I first started working as a pharmacist. When I first started working as a pharmacist, I had continued dance through pharmacy school. And then when I received my degree and I started working, I was just doing pharmacy for a little bit, and I felt so suppressed. I just felt energetically just stifled. So I started dance again, and I went into acting at that point. I started taking acting classes. I started doing theater, local theater. I did theater in New York City. I did a lot. I did some independent films. I did some commercial work. I loved it. I loved being on stage. I loved the camera. And so it helped me to balance. I felt so much better. I just felt amazing. So whatever individually, I think, for even adults to do at this point, whether people are musically inclined or, dance, you can sign up for online, classes if people really want to do it. You can do that. I saw that with the ballroom dancing. People can sign up. So, it's really, really key for us to monitor our energy and monitor ourselves and monitor where we are, because if we're out of balance, we want to keep our vibration raised, right? We want to stay in balance, especially during this time. It's so key and so important. And I think there's so much available for people to be able to do that,
It's so interesting that, and you say that, you bring that up again, and I think it's important that we clarify this, because you went to the complete science. Okay, I'm a pharmacist. This is what I'm doing. Yep. Science. Yep. And you felt that in your system. Luckily, you understood what you needed to do to actually shift yourself out of that, because you'd had already previous experience of how the arts helped you. I mean, we're suggesting the arts, but it could be any creativity. It could be painting. It could be anything, flower arranging, whatever it is, something expressive. And I really feel this is missing in a lot of our children's and in our grown-up life, is that the play, let's say play, but the arts are seen as something that is not necessary, or perhaps it's something that we do after the fact, and it's not seen as an integral part of our balanced being. And we know from medicine, holistic medicine, that we need to take a whole approach, and that is making sure that we have those ways that we can express ourselves and the arts in there. And I really feel like that is something that we can all be taking on board right now, whilst we're in lockdown and restrictions. We can all do something in our home that is arts based. And so with that in mind, what suggestions would you have, for the arts, if you've got any to give us?
Oh, sure. I mean, like you said, we're not just saying just acting or dance, right? So if somebody has a love of painting or drawing, and do it, allow that energy to flow. Take a few minutes, whether it's daily or just a few times a week, allow that energy to flow. Dance there, like I said, there's dance classes online now. You can take them online, and it's great.
Is that ballroom dancing you were saying? I would like to try this online. I feel I love that idea.
Yeah, I was researching it because I want to start some ballroom, because I just always loved it. I thought it was beautiful, and I want to do it. So I was looking at that online, and they have it available. So, I think they have so much available online now. You could probably take, whether ballet or jazz, they're offering it, or small classes in person. I think they're doing small classes in person, but I think they're doing a lot of classes online, which is great, So whether it's dance or painting, like you said, flower arrangement, anything, just to spark your creativity. And even really cooking is creative. And if you have, you have time, you can create some, amazing dishes at home and flow that energy for yourself. It's really important for us to honor ourselves right now, and take that time to honor ourselves and lift ourselves up. It's key. So.
I love that. And so in terms of your work as a healer and teaching metaphysics, can you tell us about the areas that you cover, where you teach and how you support people, what's happening in your community? Because we're in the UK, and you're over our cousins over in the US. You're going through a whole different,
Yeah.
through things at a different time, and so what's happening over in your side of the world?
Sure. So right now we do have restrictions in New Jersey. We just have restrictions on the limited amounts of people that we can have within a gathering. So we are still not on lockdown, but we still have restrictions. So, right, I'm offering still small classes right now, and I can see clients one-on-one for sessions. And that clients one-on-one opened up in June. So that was really nice to be able to flow that energy again. It felt so good to be able to be back into the sessions and working with people again. And so, yes, I'm working one-on-one and initiating people. I have initiations coming up and classes supporting people. It's been interesting to see, like I said, there's been a common thread of this. I feel so heavy with the clients coming in. I feel really heavy and I feel stuck. And then it's amazing once they start receiving the energy of the lineage and the vibration, how they literally start to come back and say, oh my God, I feel so much better. I feel lifted. It's really been nice to see that, especially during this time of what's going on. I'm so happy to have these tools for myself to use and also for others. Yeah.
What's your number one tool? What's your number one tool when somebody comes to see you? Maybe they're thinking, I'm only going to have one session. What can I do? What's your recommendation? If people have never really done this before, maybe they're more of the sciencey brain, and they're like, oh no, I don't believe in all that, stuff or whatever. Right. What would you recommend to them out of our toolkit that we have? What would you recommend they start with?
Oh, definitely the life activation. That's the number one tool, always. Just because it just opens you up, right, at such a deep level, and it just starts working energetically with us on such a profound level. So definitely the activation. It's nice because I can talk to them as a pharmacist standpoint. So I can say, hey, we have our physical DNA, but we also have our spiritual DNA, and this will activate everything for you and start to open your mind, and it just creates such a calming effect on the system, especially now at this time. It really just brings us back into our heart center and into our core, right, and opening that energy up. So it's really a nice balancing energy as well as it will open up many opportunities for people at this time. So
yeah, sometimes it's funny, isn't it? Because some people just need to hear it from somebody that's got kind of that medical background or training. It's like, okay, right. There must be something here. There must be something in there,
Yes,
because she believes in science, but she also believes in this. So isn't it funny? And do you find people feel more confident with that? That come to you?
Yes, definitely. Sometimes, yes, they will say, oh, you're a pharmacist. Oh, I'm on this medication. So they can talk to me about certain things too. Or, oh, okay. So you have the science background and you're weaving everything. I said, yeah, I have the science background, but these tools just enhance everything we do. These healings just enhance everything. Right. Yeah, I definitely have that happen where they definitely have. I think sometimes it's a comfort zone for some people because, oh, she's a pharmacist, but in general, I just try to weave the balance of the two, the balance of really the art and the science together for people. So
yeah, it's so important. I love that. So your number one top tip is get the life activation if you can.
Yeah.
And then we've got meditations which are happening all over the world. So tune in to the Max Med. We've also got some Cheeto happening online as well, which is amazing. Yes. So and if you're in New Jersey, you can actually go and see Karen yourself, because she's allowed to do sessions, and I highly recommend this.
Yes. Yes.
I highly recommend it. Oh my goodness. Karen, we're almost out of time, but I know it goes by so quickly. It's like, oh my goodness, 1 minute we started and
I
then
know.
but can you finish off by just some parting words of wisdom, anything that you want to share with the community, anything else, that I haven't asked you or that you want to just reiterate?
Yeah, I just want to really emphasize just the self-care for people at this time. I think that's so important, really taking the time for self-care for our to really support our energy system in many, many different ways, taking care of our physical body, strengthen the immune system in that way. I mean, we've touched on this with meditation, but also, supporting your energy system, supporting that vibration in many, many different ways, either through meditations or seeing, a practitioner that can work with you and really, finding that support and that help. We talked about how there's so much of that anxiety and stress that people are experiencing right now, and really self-care and self-support, connect and reach out and really find the help that you can get, because there are plenty of us out here, as well as opportunities, like you said, working, balancing your energy system, working creatively, whatever works best for you. And that would be my suggestion for everybody right now. And the tools we have are phenomenal, because our lineage tools allow us to connect with that light, right, and raise our vibration, and pull us out. So
yeah, they do. Thank you so much. I've been glancing over. We've had some hearts, comments, and we've had so beautiful to see you and hear you both. Thank you for your joy and wisdom sharing and such like. So I have been keeping an eye on what's been going on. But thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for your amazing insight into these two worlds when they come together, and just the magic that happens. So to be balanced in that, and to, like you said, just to be aware, just to be open. Just we really have that ability to heal in quantum leaps. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Wonderful seeing you.
Oh, I know, wonderful. I know. We're normally, to the viewers, we're normally seeing each other at least 4 times a year, more. So we haven't seen each other for a long time. So okay, everyone, thanks for joining us, and thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.